Welcome to the Dude Make Something podcast. I'm your host, Jam Calpin, and I'm here every week to help you stop adulting from killing your creativity and to encourage you to create something to help your mental health. What's going on, guys? What's going on? We are now on episode 4? I think episode 4. Yeah, I shouldn't be losing count so soon. Well, it might be because it's late, but anyways, welcome to episode 4. Episode 4 of Dude Make Something. Have any of you started considering creating and making stuff to deal with your mental health? Maybe. If so, leave a comment. Whether you're listening on YouTube or, on your favorite podcasting app, leave a review, leave 5 stars, a like, but more importantly, let me know. Have you started creating something or at least started considering, maybe I could use creativity as an outlet to help me with all of my craziness. Anyways, on today's episode, we're going to talk about how perfectionism can stop you from creating. And I'm going to share a few things from my own personal life of how perfectionism has stopped me from creating and kind of led to me being in the rut that I feel like I'm in now. So in the previous episodes, I've talked about how we all need an emotional outlet. We need an emotional release valve. We need some way to, release the pressure that's in our hearts and our minds and our soul. We got to get it out. And I'm recommending and suggesting that creativity, creating something, making something is an awesome way to do that. And very often it's free, And I'll also note that that does not replace therapy. It does not replace counseling. Please, brothers, take some time to get some counseling, to get some therapy. There are a lot of services out there that can be super helpful. 2 that I could recommend are BetterHelp.com and Whole Brother Mission. Both of them offer affordable counseling options. So I would definitely look into that. But if you haven't yet made the time to invest in counseling or therapy, the next best thing in my mind is making something, creating something to kind of help deal with what's going on within yourself, So the reason I bring up perfectionism in regards to creating, making something is that there can be a lot of blocks, mental blocks that keep us from actually taking the time to even try to do something. And for me, there have been a few times that I've really been so caught up in my head that it's just stopped me from making anything. One big example for me is music. So I've been trying to make music for quite some time. Like I initially started probably back in 2005 while I was still in high school. And my first attempt was, I was trying to make some music for a girl I was dating at the time in high school. And I did, I made my own mixtape for her or whatever. It was trash. But, you do things because you love people or you like people. And I have another episode coming out about that soon, about the motivation to create and why it's important to create for others. But so I started, that's how I kind of got my initial start into creating music or making music. And that carried on into college. And it really progressed. I think around 2008, 2009, I was really making a lot of stuff and producing a lot of instrumentals and things that either I was rapping over or other people were using. But around 2010, I started to get really, really critical of myself. And that criticism or that critical nature really comes in when you start comparing yourself. And so for me, as I was considering, hey, maybe I can actually do music, like an actual career. Maybe I can become a legitimate producer. I started realizing that some of the stuff I was making wasn't as good as I thought it was. I started thinking, well, it's not as good as so-and-so. It's not as good as this person over here. And so because it wasn't up to par or whatever, I started thinking, I just can't do this. Then I just can't do it. And now looking back, hindsight, I wish I had the maturity and the insight to be like, it takes time to get to where you want to go. And that doesn't mean just because you're not at your ideal goal yet, just because you're not perfect yet, doesn't mean you stop, doesn't mean you give up, doesn't mean you quit. But I did. And because I was so concerned about being perfect, or really concerned about comparing myself to what other people were doing, and focusing on that, trying to be perfect, and the comparison really took the soul out of what I was trying to do. Because the real reason I was making a lot of that music and stuff is because it was fun to me. It was an outlet. Like I shared, I believe, in a previous episode, I talked about that, how even within my music, I was able to emote and get that stuff out. But now that I'm thinking so critically about it, and I'm trying to be so perfect at it, and I'm trying to, put dollar signs next to it, it took away that feel to just create for fun, or to create as a release. Like the emotional release valve wasn't being used for that purpose anymore. And that really messed that up. That really messed that up for me. And to this day, I'm struggling to get back into that kind of creative space. And I mean, it also doesn't help that I'm more of a legitimate adult. So trying to find that time to be able to create things for fun can be a little difficult. But just because it's difficult doesn't mean it's impossible. So, perfectionism, it really can creep in, and really stop us. But we gotta work our way past that. We gotta really get to the heart of why are we even creating something? Why are we even trying to make something? Another way that you can create something or make something is cooking. You can take ingredients or whatever and you prepare it, whether it's for yourself or for others. That's skill. That takes energy. Even my wife the other day, she was cooking, and the food is delicious. And you can tell when somebody is actually putting love, care, and kindness into what they're doing. You can emote even into the food that you're preparing. And so, cooking is another outlet for those who like to grill, maybe, or even bake. That's you being creative. That's you making something. But if you're trying to, cook something on the grill, or, smoke a brisket, or even bake a cake, and you're constantly comparing yourself to what you may see on Pinterest or on the Food Network or whatever, when your food is done, you might be like, oh, this is terrible. This is the absolute worst thing I've ever made. And then there you have it. Comparison and perfectionism has found a crack to creep into your mind and could potentially stop you from continuing to do what you actually enjoy. Some people just love grilling. But if you're comparing yourself to other people, if you're trying to be quote unquote perfect, and you're taking away from the actual fun, the joy, the experience of the process of making something, it's going to stop you. It's going to hinder you from actually getting to that place where you're just in the flow of making something. And that's not good. That can't help us. That's not going to help us get to where we want to be. And so we got to fight against that perfectionism. You don't have to be perfect. The things that you create don't have to be perfect. Your journal entries don't have to be perfect. Your doodles don't have to be perfect. The food that you cook doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to make something. You got to create something. You got to get it out of you. So I'm definitely encouraging you that this whole idea of creating something, making something, don't think it has to be perfect. It doesn't. What's more important is that you actually make something, that you create something so that you can free yourself and be in a healthy place for yourself and for others. Thanks for listening to the show. For those checking out the podcast on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get the latest episodes as they come out. And for those listening on your favorite podcasting app, leave a comment, subscribe, and follow. Rate 5 stars. 5 stars. Thanks again for tuning in. Until the next episode, find some time to go make something. It's good for you and for those who matter to you.